Hi, how's it going?
You alright?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. Come on in, mate. Come on in. This is where the magic happens.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, this is EV world.
And it's Nissan time again.
It's fully charged.
Awesome. Ooh, very nice.
So there's both cables there, 3-pin plug and
All right,
Type
brilliant.
2. This drives better than any van you've driven before. Same as the Leaf.
Yep.
Intelligent keys, big red button.
Yep.
Right foot on the brake. Turn it on. Dashboard lights up. And you're ready to go. So what you've got on the eNV200 is actually a regen energy information screen. So that'll actually show you what energy you've regened under braking or within the B mode. So it will show as a percentage and as a kilowatt hour.
Fantastic. That is going to be so interesting because people always underestimate how much energy they regen. Well, especially the way I drive.
And this is the Techno spec, so you've got all the sat nav and all the bits and
That's
pieces.
handy, and we're going to want that. Thank you very much. How exciting. So much space. Just get one of these for next time I move house. It's quite big, isn't it?
You've got 4.2 square meters of space. You've got a load capacity of 704 kilos. You've got your 2 sliding doors, which are standard on the eNV200. Because it's an electric van, people think that you can't do usual van things to it, but you can ply line them as you would do a normal van. On this van, you've got the solid bulkhead, but you can actually have an option of a wire bulkhead, which allows you to have a gate on the left-hand side by the passenger seat. You can open that inwards to the cab, giving you extra load space within the van, which is quite handy if you're carrying long strips of materials for whatever trade you're in.
Awesome. Well, now I've got a nice big van. No electric car would be complete without a big wallet of charging cards. Although they're getting less and less used these days, everyone seems to be moving towards apps. That's... how do I open this door? Oh yeah. Oh, they'll make a white band man out of me yet. Bye bye Tesla. Hello van. Okay, we're in business, more or less. Well, I'll tell you what, it picks up nice and smooth. You can definitely feel the wind sort of pushing her around. Now we're going a bit faster. Have I got any idea how the cruise control works? Yes, there you go. Nice. Just like the Leaf. I definitely like the way the cruise control works in the Nissan Leaf. I mean, it's nothing revolutionary, it's just, you know, the controls are in the right place. I am a big fan of the way EVs drive in general. I mean, I haven't met an EV I don't like yet, unless you count the Ampera as an EV, which it sort of is. But I found that a bit, for an EV, a bit laggy. It's not good. I mean, got an electric drive system that lags, you know something's gone wrong somewhere. But then, you know, I drove that a long time ago and they don't sell them anymore. You know, let's see what this is doing to our range. I haven't talked about range numbers yet, specifically because I trust the guessometer in Nissan vehicles not at all. So with that in mind, what is the range like? Okay, so it currently says 58 miles, which with the aircon on is what it said when we left the Glyn Hopkin Nissan in Romford, and we left there about 6 miles ago. So in 6 miles it's taken off no range whatsoever, which is partly a function of how efficiently I tend to drive EVs, and partly it's just a function of the fact that I think the guessometer is not sort of yet at the point where it's ready to be reasonably accurate, in as far as it's ever reasonably accurate. But the real point here is, you're going to drive into a city, then, you know, range is almost a complete and utter non-issue, because the distances you cover are so short, what tends to use up the time is sitting in traffic. You know, I mean, I think it's something like 35 miles in total from the outskirts of one bit of the M25 to the opposite outskirts of the M25, you know, if you go across the centre. So this van would be able to go from the absolute furthest extent to the east to the absolute furthest extent in the west and back again. Oh, look at that. The range has gone back up now, so it's now 5 miles more than it was when I left what is now 7 miles ago. At the moment it says that 21% of the energy that I've used has come from regen. See? Regen. It's all about the regen. Right, I need to keep to the right. Oh, there's a Tesla. Hope the sat-nav knows where we're going, because I haven't got a clue. I used to drive this way to work all the time. Kind of miss it in a weird sort of way. Maybe miss it is a bit too strong a term. I need to get my car on the congestion charge thing. It's ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, you've got an EV, it is exempt from the congestion charge, but you still have to fill in a bunch of paperwork, provide a copy of your logbook, and pay 10 quid a year. Just to prove the point about the old guessometer there, I've now done 13.2 miles and I have 6 miles more range than I started with. And I have regenerated 25% of the power that I've used. I mean, seriously, you could drive this van around all day, is the reality. And in London, I mean, yeah, you get on a motorway and chug along at 70 and you're going to run out of power quickly. But in the centre of London, it's going to last a day, you know. Sitting here nice and comfortably, perfect temperature. All very civilised, and I have to say the other thing that I love about electric vehicles is I've been driving this now for about, I don't know, 45, 50 minutes, and they very quickly they feel completely second nature. You get used to them, and they're so predictable in a way that, you know, I mean, I've driven vans before and they've always been, you know, real dogs. You know you're driving a van and the thing's big and unresponsive and doesn't pick up off the line quickly, you know, no matter how much you need it to. The visibility is pretty good. I mean, the visibility forwards is excellent, backwards less so, but then it's a van, so you know what do you expect? You're always going to have that sort of unfortunate situation with a van where if you can't see my mirrors, then I can't see you, kind of thing. I don't really think there's any way around that. I suppose you could have a always-on rear-facing camera. Not a bad idea, actually. Obviously, if Tesla built a van, they'd have that. So how many bars of power have I lost then? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've got 9 bars remaining, which presumably means I've used 3, and it was fully charged when I started. Cool. The eco light is on. I can't actually see where the button would be to turn that off. Maybe that's because I've put it in brake mode. Nope, it's not because it's in brake mode. There's some other reason that the eco mode, there must be a button. Oh, there we go. Oh, okay, so I've taken eco off now and it's given me an extra, right, no, it's not giving me an extra. It's taken off 3 miles of range, which is neither here nor there. In my experience, I suppose actually it might make a bit of a difference to the climate control, but if you drive gently, it won't make any difference if you're in eco or not. I'm going to put it back in eco. but only because I did the rest of the journey in eco, so it gives me a level playing field for comparing things like range. Okay, so I took a wrong turn and I'm now stuck in really heavy traffic. Luckily, it's done nothing to my range whatsoever, which no surprise there, it's an EV. And also, because it's an EV, it's a very relaxing driving experience in an EV. If you're going to be stuck in traffic, this is the kind of car you want to be, or van, that you want to be stuck in. There's no vibration, there's no noise, you're not creating any smell or pollution, although the other vehicles around you usually are. London's one of those places where if you know which lane you're supposed to be in, it's all fine. But if you don't, it's an absolute lane-changing nightmare disaster. And that's basically what's been going on with me. I must have just changed lanes about 5 times in quick succession. I think I'm in the right lane, but it's difficult to tell for sure. You're not going to believe this. I've missed another turning. I'm totally speechless. I mean, this is just totally and utterly ridiculous. You know, the best way, I think, to cut down on London congestion would be to eliminate this ridiculous policy whereby if you take one wrong turn, you have to drive an extra 2 miles to get back to where you should be. I now have to sit in all of the traffic that I just sat in again. Absolutely maddening that but I realised I needed to have taken the turn about 10 metres too late. The charger's out of order. Well, I'm going to park here anyway. Remember the parking brake, always handy. I wondered why it was beeping. It's because it's still on. There we go. Okay, so my parking job is awful. What's this sign say? Okay, so I've done 28% regen, which is cool. I've got 55 miles on the clock now, but bear in mind it said 58 when I started, and I've done 15 miles because I didn't reset the trip until I'd already done 2.5 miles. That's what I call good value for mileage. Just try and find somewhere I can grab a bite to eat and use the loo, and then I'll head on back. Smells good, but the queue is a bit on the long side. That one's working. It's only one post and it's being used. I can see a Starbucks. That'll do. My favourite. And the good news is I've not been accidentally given a ticket for parking in an electric bay. Time to head back to, oh God, I have no idea where I'm going. Ah! Phone, handbrake off, drive. I've decided I'm going to drive back not in eco, because hey, why not? Find out how peppy this little thing is. I have to say, if I needed to drive regularly into the centre of London and use a van around London, I would definitely get this one. I don't have a particularly valid opinion on the subject because I don't drive a van for work. Well, other than today, but usually I don't drive a van for work. It's a joy to drive. It's lovely and quiet and calm and relaxed. I just sit here. It's brilliant. And my regen percentage is up to 30%. Granted, I did just come down a hill, so that could have something to do with it. The only thing is, you're not going to be able to just jump in it and decide to drive to Scotland. I mean, you could do, but it would be hard work. It'd probably require at least some planning, and it would take a fair amount longer than it would in a petrol or diesel or longer range EV for that matter. But the money you'd save driving this around the middle of London in terms of congestion charge and fuel is just mental. I mean, you could have this and a Ford Transit, and it would probably still be cheaper than driving the Ford Transit into the congestion charge on a regular basis. Just as a disclaimer, of course, I am not being paid by Nissan at all. I'm just giving my honest opinion. I am slightly biased in that I like EVs a lot, and this is an EV, but other than that, it is, you know, it's how I feel about it. The zip on this now is totally different without the eco on. I mean, it's not like a race car or anything, but compared to the other vans on the road, it actually is a race car. I always thought Nissans could do with a little bit more regen though, and that is still the case. So while I'm stuck in this horrible traffic, let's have a quick look at some of the sort of cost calculations. And I think that'll help you understand why I'm so keen on this van. I'm going to have used something like £1.20 to do a good 28 odd mile round trip into the centre of London, and it's going to have taken me about 3 hours. I'll have been in the van for 3 hours, something like that. So in 3 hours and 28 miles through the centre of London, I spent £1.20 if I paid for the electricity, which I didn't. Compare that to a van, a diesel van, a Berlingo or something like that. Well, you'd be looking at least £4 or £5 worth of fuel, plus £10, or is it £12 now for the congestion charge? A fair whack of money either way. So heading in the direction of 10 times more expensive. Oh, I didn't add parking in. Then to park for that hour would probably have cost another £2-3. So to do that in a Berlingo would probably set you back something like £17-18. And I've driven into the centre of London doing the exact same journey for about £1.20-ish. Sound quality is pretty good, and we're back at Nissan Glyn Hopkin. Right. So what are we on? We're on 50%. Oh, regen. 33% of the energy comes from regen. See, nobody ever believes me when I tell them how high the percentage really is. But either this car is lying like crazy, or a very substantial amount of power comes from the regen. So in three hours, 30 miles, 10 miles an hour average speed, welcome to London, 33% regen, a total cost somewhere in the ballpark of about 80-90 pence, because there was no parking. It's all free for EVs in Westminster. There was also no congestion charge. All in all, that's pretty cheap, and that is a damn sight cheaper than the heading in the direction of 20 quid it would have cost in a diesel or petrol anything. Right, brilliant. Yeah, so it's got CHAdeMO, it's got 6 kilowatt onboard charger, quite a well optioned van that I borrowed then. Now I just have to get the keys back. Really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Fantastic.
Didn't get to charge it in the end.
Okay.
Because the charger was broken.
Really?
I went to Lincoln Inn Fields, which is the one I've often used in the past, because it's a great parking spot. But yeah, other than that, I mean, it was fine. It's only used 50% of the battery or less, getting all the way in there. I've been in the van for 3 hours. That's long enough to be in a van in traffic in London. You reckon?
Definitely.
Yeah. Definitely. It's very comfortable though, actually. I've got to say, it was a comfortable experience.
Yeah.
My feet are hurting, but that's mainly because I think I did my shoes up too tight. The rest of me's fine. What do you reckon my regen percentage was?
About 30%. Was it?
Cheers very much.
See you soon, James.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
You. Cheers. Always a pleasure to see Darren. He did just make one very good point while we were up there. He was saying that the van's not got a heat pump, so in winter, heating the cabin might use a bit more power than the AC in summer. But what it does come with is a heated steering wheel and heated seats, which in an EV is always a good idea.